I think it's time to give the Detroit Lions some well-deserved attention.
Perfect.
Honestly, in my personal opinion, so far this season, the Detroit Lions have been one of the more interesting and more noteworthy teams in the entire NFL, even as a sub-500 organization currently. They are one win under 500 after last year being one of the bottom feeders in the NFL, the number 2 overall draft pick. If I'm not mistaken, they only had like 2 wins last year. They have honestly seen some major improvements going from 2 to so far 6 wins. And I think a large part of that absolutely has to do with their kneecap biting, exciting head coach, Dan Campbell. I mean, the man just knows how to energize his players, energize the locker room, energize the fan base, energize everybody within the organization and a fan of the organization. I mean, the Detroit Lions have really just needed somebody like this to step in and start leading them in the right direction. Is Dan Campbell a mastermind tactician who is outsmarting everybody else in the entire NFL? I wouldn't necessarily say that, but what he is doing is getting all 53 members, 55 members, whatever, everybody on the practice squad, everybody in the building energized and ready to go kick some butt on game day. And what he does for these Detroit Lions is give them a pillar, a person to rally around and say, we're not going out without a fight. We are going to bring it all 4 quarters, all 60 minutes. You're going to have to earn your wins against us. Like, Dan Campbell has energized this team. Last year was just an exciting person to talk about periodically throughout the season for a number of sports media personalities, podcasters, whatever. And now this year, with the HBO preseason, off-season, whatever you want to call it, giving you a little bit more of an in-depth look as to who exactly is Dan Campbell, I think a lot more people have become fans of these Detroit Lions, become fans of this staff, become fans of these players. And it doesn't just stop at Dan Campbell. It continues into the roster. Looking at their quarterback, a former number 1 overall pick, the former Super Bowl quarterback for the LA Rams, Jared Goff, who saw his career start to die down and dwindle with the LA Rams, who they traded to the Detroit Lions. And now he's top 10 in the NFL currently in passing yards, has a great 3-to-1, over 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio so far this season with 22 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. Is leading a resurgence with this offense. The offensive line is playing well for him. First round pick last year, Penei Sewell, playing terrific football so far this year. One of the better centers in the entire NFL, the very underrated and understated Frank Ragnow, as well as the rest of the offensive line playing very good, very strong, effective football. In the backfield, you've got a dynamic playmaker in DeAndre Swift, who throughout injuries throughout the season is still, again, a very solid running back at the very least. And behind him is the NFL's touchdown leader, the goal line destroyer, the goal line nightmare that is Jamal Williams, who has found the end zone more than any other running back so far this season, who also has a very captivating personality. As an anime fan, I like seeing players like Jamal Williams bring some more awareness to the medium. It's really cool to see a guy that's incredibly enthusiastic about that kind of stuff. Also just happened to be a very energetic and very fun guy to watch on the sidelines. I think a collaboration between him and Marshawn Lynch would be absolutely amazing, just saying. But then you look at the receiving corps, right? You look at DJ Chark, who came over from the Jacksonville Jaguars, playing a role in this offense. Josh Reynolds, another former Ram, playing a role in this offense. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who even throughout some injuries this season is top 10 in receiving yards, is one of the more dynamic receiving threats in the entire NFL. And their first round pick, one of their first round picks, from this past year's NFL draft, Jameson Williams, in his first game, getting a deep ball touchdown on his very first reception, his very first catch, his very first touchdown in his very first NFL game. They have some fun and young wide receivers. They've got a energized offense in general. But then looking at the other side of the football, you've got 2 cornerstones in their defense that they're going to be building around for the foreseeable future in Jeff Okudah at the cornerback position. And then you, of course, have number 2 overall pick from this past year's draft Aiden Hutchinson, another Michigan native, playing for a Michigan team, the Detroit Lions. So there's a lot to look forward to, a lot to be excited about with these Detroit Lions. And I think they're one of the more interesting, if not the most interesting team, as the thumbnail is going to allude to, in the NFL, because you've got a team that is representing a city that obviously has no Super Bowl appearances, much less wins, a team that has been basically trodden on for the better part of at least the last 20-25 years, not a terribly successful team, a team that has seen Hall of Famers come and go, has seen optimism come and go, start to at least get the signs of hope, signs of excitement, signs of life within this organization, a fan base that has rumbled for so long, just waiting for a winner, waiting for an organization and a team that they can really just rally behind. So there's a lot to love about the Detroit Lions. I think it's time to give them at least some level of praise. There's a chance they could even make the playoffs. An outside chance, but a chance nonetheless. This team has shown a lot of improvement. They show a lot of heart. They show a lot of energy. They show a lot and put a lot out on the field. And I think it's time to give Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, and company their roses for playing absolutely terrific football so far this season. They're on the up and up. They're on the rise right now. And honestly, it just deserves some recognition. So moving on from that to our picks, starting things off with Thursday Night Football, the San Francisco 49ers heading up to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Even with a third-string quarterback, the 49ers have looked very impressive so far this season. I'm going to ride with the 49ers, taking out the Seattle Seahawks, who are coming off of a tough loss just this past week to the Carolina Panthers. Looking at some Saturday matchups, some of our first Saturday matchups of the season, the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Give me the Vikings in that matchup. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Cleveland Browns, as Lamar Jackson's injury status is still very much so up in the air heading into this matchup. Tyler Huntley suffered an injury in their last game, so they're onto their third-string quarterback right now. The offense looking very limited, so I'm going to go with the Browns right now. And then the Miami Dolphins taking on the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, a potentially snowy Buffalo. I know the weather concerns are going to be a story for these Miami Dolphins, but I'm still expecting plenty of offense in this one. But give me the Buffalo Bills at home. Then creeping into Sunday, our matchup starting off with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Chicago Bears. Going to be an interesting one, but I'm still going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to continue their very dominant season so far. Atlanta Falcons taking on the New Orleans Saints in a very tightly contested NFC South for some reason. The best of the worst, so to speak, I guess is what you could kind of call that division. Give me the New Orleans Saints in that matchup. The Detroit Lions taking on the New York Jets. Give me the Lions. Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Carolina Panthers, the next matchup up. Give me the Carolina Panthers. Steve Wilkes and company are doing a lot with a roster that nobody is expected to do well so far. They're fighting for the division crown as we speak in that NFC South. They could win out, they win the division. Then the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Probably going to be a lot more high scoring than expected, but Dallas's defense is going to be the one prevailing here. Give me the Cowboys. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Houston Texans. Give me the Chiefs. Arizona Cardinals taking on the Denver Broncos. A quarterback conundrum for both sides, as Kyler Murray looks like he suffered a terrible injury on Monday Night Football. Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson going through the concussion protocol as well. So the quarterbacks both kind of up in the air. I think I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos in that one, just because I like their defense a little bit more. New England Patriots taking on former offensive coordinator, now head coach Josh McDaniels and the Raiders. But let me get them a little bit of vengeance from preseason. Give me the Patriots in that matchup. Tennessee Titans taking on the LA Chargers. Tennessee, that running game is probably going to be a little bit too much. I'm expecting this to be a bit of a slog for the Chargers. Give me the Titans. And then the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Give me these Cincinnati Bengals. The Bucs have just not put anything consistent together so far this season. Sunday Night Football, the Giants taking on the Commanders. Give me the Commanders in that matchup. And then Monday Night Football, the Rams and the Packers. Give me the Packers in an interesting Mayfield versus Rodgers matchup. And that's all I got for you this week. Thank you so much for watching the video. Of course, feel free to stick around and watch some more content. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and of course, get the bell on to know every single time I'm dropping a video. My name's Tristan Blake Rines. Catch you in the next one. Adios.